First, the goose needs a milestone, the turning point. Your first $10,000 will not make you rich. You cannot retire, buy a house with cash, or live off the interest. But around this number, something important starts to happen. Money stops being just a score on a screen and begins changing the decisions available to you. You gain time, you panic less, and for the first time, it can feel like your money is working beside you. But is this number really special? Not a magic number. There is nothing magical about exactly $10,000. For someone spending $2,000 a month, it provides one level of security. For a family spending $8,000, it provides another. But $10,000 is large enough to create meaningful options and still achievable enough to become a realistic first milestone. It is a psychological and practical turning point, not a secret formula for wealth. Now imagine having no safety net. Life without a buffer. When you have almost no savings, every problem becomes an emergency. A car repair becomes credit card debt. A missed week of work threatens the rent. A broken laptop can take away your ability to earn. You pay more than the original bill. You also pay interest, late fees, and the hidden cost of making important decisions while you are under pressure. The goose could use some protection. A financial shield. $10,000 creates a buffer between you and chaos. It is not total protection, but it gives you room to move. An $800 bill still hurts, yet it no longer has to destroy the entire month. You can solve the problem using money you already own instead of borrowing from your future at a painfully high interest rate. Protection also buys something valuable. You buy time. The most valuable thing savings buys is not stuff. It buys time. Time to find a decent job instead of accepting the first offer. Time to compare repair quotes. Time to visit a doctor before a small problem becomes a large one. Before 10,000, urgency controls most of your choices. After 10,000, some of that control moves back to you. More time makes one word easier. The power to say no. That reserve changes your behavior even when you do not spend it. A bad boss has less power over you. A difficult client becomes less frightening. You can reject a suspicious deal or take a few weeks to search for better work. $10,000 does not give you complete independence, but it makes one extremely valuable word easier to say. No. But financial pressure has a price. Escaping expensive fees. Having no spare cash is expensive. Overdraft charges, late fees, credit card interest, and rushed purchases constantly take part of your income. Savings lets you pay on time, compare options, and use high-cost debt less often. Your money can begin saving you money before you invest a single dollar. Avoiding a 29% credit card balance can matter far more than chasing an extra point of investment return. Cheap choices can become expensive. Cheap now, expensive later. Without a buffer, people are often forced to buy what is cheapest today instead of what provides better value. Cheap shoes need replacing. An unreliable car needs repeated repairs. A tiny package can cost more per unit. Capital allows you to consider total cost, not only the price due this afternoon. That small advantage can repeat across years of ordinary purchases. Then your progress becomes visible. Then the math begins to feel different. $1,000 and $10,000 grow at the same percentage rate, but not by the same number of dollars. 5% of $1,000 is $50. 5% of $10,000 is $500. That is not enough passive income to live on, but it is large enough to notice, and seeing progress can make consistent saving easier. Soon, the money joins the work. Capital gets an engine. Imagine $10,000 invested at a hypothetical average return of 7% a year. With no additional contributions, it would grow to roughly $19,700 after 10 years, $38,700 after 20, and $76,000 after 30. Markets rise and fall, so this is not a promise. It simply demonstrates what time and compounding can do. But the first climb is hardest. The hardest milestone. That is why the first 10,000 often feels harder than the next 10,000. At the beginning, nearly all progress comes from your contributions. Save $100 and the balance grows by about $100. Later, interest and market growth can contribute too. Your capital is not doing all the work, but you are no longer pushing the financial load completely alone. Reaching the top creates temptation, the dangerous reward. This is also where many people erase their progress. 10,000 starts to look like money that must be spent, a down payment on too much car, an expensive vacation, or a lifestyle upgrade. But if you reward yourself with the entire balance, you return to zero. The first job of capital is to protect your freedom, not prove to other people that you finally have money. Still, every household is different. Your number is personal. Your real turning point depends on your essential expenses. Add up housing, food, insurance, transportation, and minimum debt payments. Then ask how many months your reserve could cover. For one person, $10,000 may represent 6 months of breathing room. For another, it may cover only 6 weeks. The important number is not the beautiful round balance. It is the time that balance buys. So each dollar needs a purpose. Give every dollar a job. You do not need to keep all 10,000 in one place. Emergency money should stay accessible and protected from sudden market declines. Money needed for near-term purchases should usually avoid unnecessary risk too. Money you will not need for many years can be considered separately and invested according to your goals and tolerance for risk. Every dollar should have a specific job. And that money needs a home, where the reserve lives. For most Americans, an emergency reserve belongs in a liquid account at an insured bank, not under a mattress or in a speculative asset. The FDIC automatically insures eligible deposits to at least $250,000 at each FDIC-insured bank. Stocks, bonds, and crypto assets are not FDIC-insured. For emergency money, safety and accessibility matter more than maximizing potential return. Unless expensive debt comes first. High-interest debt comes first. There is one important complication. If you hold $10,000 while paying extremely high credit card interest, the debt may grow much faster than your savings. It can make sense to keep a basic emergency cushion and direct extra cash toward expensive debt. But draining the account without a plan can backfire. The next emergency may send you directly back to the same credit card. Now the goose needs a system. Build the system. Once you reach the milestone, do not rely on motivation. Build a system. Schedule automatic transfers after every paycheck. Capture your employer retirement match if one is available. Maintain the emergency reserve you actually need, pay down expensive debt, and direct the rest toward long-term goals. 10,000 should not become a finish line. It should become the foundation that makes the next stage easier. And every system needs a key. The first key. That is why almost everything changes after your first $10,000. Not because you suddenly become rich, but because a small disaster no longer has to become a financial sentence. You can wait, choose, and think further ahead. Your capital begins to grow, and your decisions become less controlled by fear. The first $10,000 does not buy complete freedom. It gives you the first real key to it.